Mhm.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that you said actually, again, resonates with me because I don't know, I was doing something today and I was just thinking, and, we've had conversations about, relationships and things like that. And I always thank God because I feel like whenever I'm in a place of um, doubting myself in relationships or like, am I going to pick the right person or any of these things, whatever I'm lacking, he's always brought to me specifically in women in that
I
space.
love that.
And so it's, bringing a new friend that, what I'm looking for or, what I feel like I'm needing at the time instead of running at fast pace and picking wrong or things like that. Like he fills the gap with that individual to
Yeah.
allow me to get that. But where I'm going with the story is I think to myself, we always joke about relationships and things like that. Like, especially if a woman has a good relationship with their dad, like, oh, don't go date that girl, right? Because you're never going to be her father, or you're never going to be able to live up to it. But
Yeah.
I think about, when ambition and dating, and it's been very hard for me, but I think that I'm blessed because I date my friends. My friends date me.
Mhm.
And so there's never, when I really think about it, it's never a lack. If I'm down or I'm sad or anything like that, like we go to dinner, they'll take me to dinner or they'll call me or they'll talk to me all night or like all of these, I think, dating characteristics that you look for in a partner that comes back to showing up for the people that we love. They've shown up for me in a way that allows me, I can have pain, but I can still heal. And I don't
Mhm.
have to heal to run to someone else,
Yeah.
right? I don't have to heal quickly. I don't have to heal unhealthy. you
Mhm.
know, it's a good space. So I think that also goes back to showing up for the people you love.
Yeah, I love how you said that. I think Bell Hooks in one of her books, Communion, talks about romantic friendships
Mm,
and talks about like those relationships that are so deep and loving and nurturing that no, you don't have to wait till you're with that exclusive partner, right?
mhm,
Like no, you can have a lot of that today. You don't have to run
mhm,
to that
mhm,
whole, that that ashy
mhm.
to like to get it.
Dusty ass son. Is that what
Exactly.
you're telling me, Rob?
Exactly. Like, no, we can have that in a lot of our friendships, right?
Yeah.
And they can nurture us, they can help us heal. I think about the ones whom I love most, they see me, like they actually see
Mhm.
me who I am. And they don't have expectations of what I'm supposed to be like. So, and then I get to go home too. So it's a double blessing.
Right. Like, I don't look, you were fun, but it ends tonight. I don't see you in the morning.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Maybe.
Maybe because you got on my nerves a little bit. I did her, but I love you. Yeah.
I think that's right. I think, it takes so many forms showing up for the people that we love, allowing them to show up for us, creating that soft space in our lives for one another. Um, but to me, one of the important pieces of being able to show up for those that we love is actually, again, going back to that self audit.
Yeah.
Is there or can there be something more that I'm doing? I myself can say that I've been very remiss, especially over the past couple of years in some of my relationships and being able to show up as the best of myself. And there's been like push and there's been pull and learning on, both parts and things like that. But, taking a self audit of, okay, well, this is my first time here, never been here. I've learned. Sometimes you learn on the backs of others, and that's what's not fair, right? And we have to be very mindful of that. But it's okay, I've learned this lesson. If it comes to be in the future again, how do I make sure I don't make the same mistake twice and show that these people in my life or this person in my life or whoever is of a value to me,
Mhm.
and that I can show up in the way that I didn't. And although it's painful, it's okay
Mhm.
because we all are going to go through something, and it might be your season and it might be that person's season the next time, right? And
Mhm.
so we just have to understand how that looks.
Yeah, to that self-audit piece, I'm thinking of how that connects both with the workplace and, the endeavors that we have in business,
Mhm.
and, how it connects to those whom we love. I think the self-audit for me, one of the things that I continually am on the lookout within my own soul is when I start saying two different things. One,
Mhm.
when people ask me how are you doing, and I start saying I'm tired, because people start saying that, how are
Yeah,
you doing this morning, Amber? I'm
yeah,
tired.
yeah.
It's been 2 months and you keep saying that. Um, I
Mhm.
so I know two things automatically. I know you haven't done anything to rectify this fatigue, and so I automatically know you're not showing up for yourself,
Yeah.
job, or your loved ones.
Mhm.
Because is this tired just it's early, or is this
Yeah.
you're tired?
Or
You know,
is it life?
yeah, and life is kicking your ass.
Kicking
So
your
that
ass. Yeah.
and and then the other thing that I definitely recognize for me is when I start saying I need a vacation. That is a huge red flag because I want to live a life that I don't have to try to get away from. And so when I start thinking that a 4-day vacation is going to rectify this, like, because
Everything.
yeah, how
Yeah.
it starts off slow at first. You're like, "Ooh,
Mhm.
it's kind of get on my nerves. A lot of stuff. I could use one in the future."
Yep.
And then it progresses to I need to go on vacation.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
the time I get there, if I would be honest to do a self audit,
Mhm.
I probably have not been taking care of my body.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not getting the right nutrition. I know I'm not drinking enough water. I'm not I'm not laughing enough with those whom I love, right? To the point of
Yeah.
showing up for those who love. They haven't been pouring into me because I've been like distant. And so me saying I need a vacation is my cry for help, is what I have learned personally.
I think that's interesting. And, to our ambitious besties, I like to say when you follow Rob on social media, he is a runner. So I sit there in awe, like this man running and eating great as I'm probably sitting there eating a Kit Kat. I'm like, look at him go. So I am in awe. But back to what you're saying, I think we all have warning signs. We all have our own red flags. And I think, a lot of time my red flag is when I say, I don't know what I'm doing.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good
I
one.
don't know what I'm doing. And it's just, I'll just keep repeating, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. It's not that you don't, but it's you're in the space of being lost, or you feel like you're
Yeah.
lost. You feel like
Mhm,
you don't have direction.
mm,
And eventually we get there in some
mm,
space or place.
mhm,
But it's if I was just still,
mm.
and sometimes we're just not still, especially when, again, going back to ambition, we're like, we always had to be doing something, or we got da 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 da. And I don't create space to be still because sometimes who wants to be alone with their thoughts too?
Yeah,
And so that's a big thing. And you have to learn, you have to build the muscle to relax, release your mind,
yeah,
stop all of the 9,000 things that are going on in your brain, and, all of those things. But we have to understand, like, what is our 911 to ourselves? So,
mhm.
to your example, like, I need a vacation. And I've been very guilty of being, I need a vacation, but usually my vacation means like, I just don't want to work anymore. Like,
Yeah,
I need like a life vacation.
and we want to work on that part, right? Like
Yeah.
now, number one, please don't hear me anyone to say don't take a vacation. I'm
Right.
the
That
chief.
is not the point.
Yeah,
Right.
because listen, PTO stands for prepare the others. I'm out of here. I use
Right.
every single hour of my PTO every year. I want to go negative.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but it's when I feeling like I need to escape the life that I'm in. Well, then what am I doing that I feel that I need to escape? Because sitting on a beach, I'm gonna come back to the same job.
The same thing.
Like, what is causing me like am I happy at work? Do I want, and goes with ambition.
Mm-hmm.
Do I actually want a manager position? And am I frustrated at my job being stuck down here?
Yeah.
Right. Do I want to be an entrepreneur to give myself another stream of income because I feel stuck? All of that to say is asking myself, what is it that I need when I'm saying, I need to get out of here. I need a vacation. Well,
Right.
do you just need a girls' night every week?
Right.
And that's fine. Like maybe you do. And okay, like
whatever it looks like for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's so many things there. Like I feel like we could talk a lot just on that alone, but I think it goes back to exactly what you said in the beginning of our conversation, showing up for those we love. Well, I love myself. And am I doing myself justice? Am I doing justice in how I'm showing up for myself? And I think a lot of times that we're not. And we have to stop and take a step back and understand what that looks like. Understand it's not perfect. Understand, as I always say, it's a journey, but that appraisal will help us because we're not showing up for ourselves and we're not really showing up for anybody else either. We might think we are, but are we really?
One thing on that is when we don't show up for ourselves, I just think of the sheer amount of times I've been frustrated with friends, loved ones, even one of our mutual friends that we know.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I've been frustrated, but then realizing I'm frustrated that you can't read my mind. I'm frustrated because I'm not taking care of myself. You should be taking care. Well,
that part.
That's wild. Like, how can they know me better than I know me?
Right.
Like, I'm not showing up for myself enough.
Yeah.
And then finding myself randomly irritated, randomly frustrated. And that's not fair, right? And so taking care of ourselves, whether it's self-care, whether that's, whatever your self-care practice is, whatever your self-audit practices are, allows me to show up in a healthy way. I'll say that. Yeah.
In a healthy way. And you have to figure out what that healthy way is, right? It's individualistic. It's telling others what you need, but also for those that we love and we care about. To your point, you're not a mind reader, but there is, I think, a space for you say you're doing well, but it doesn't look like you're doing well.
True.
Right. And being attuned to those around us, being selfless enough in the space that you can know, okay, I keep making this about me. Let me make it a little bit about this other person, right? A little bit at least. And I'm guilty of that. And a lot of times when, especially if we're going through things or things like that, like it's the main character in our story. So we think it's the main character in everybody's story, right? And then we forget, like, well, guess what? Like, people have their own lives going on. And although they're showing up for you, can you take a step back and do a better job of showing up for them and understanding that? So it's an art and a science. And I think we're still figuring out, like, we can be 70 and still figure it out because we don't really know, but I think it's the fact that we're being intentional.
Yeah. I agree. And I like how you said it's an art and a science because it's both. And the way that I figure it out is not just by my own strength and my own mind and my might. It's the communal care ethic that I have with people around me who ask me those questions, who say, okay, you seem to be checking off all these boxes, but you're mean lately. Like, and I have friends who step to me straight like that.
Yeah.
You don't respond to text when I text you, but you got time to be a boss all out here. I'm not liking how you're showing up here in this friendship. And that's accountability. That's a communal.
That's accountability. And the accountability for anybody, especially again, going back to ambition, is how you continue to level up.
Mhm.
Those that lack accountability or never take accountability, they're always going to be in the same space. They're never going to grow. They're never going
Mhm.
to level up. Um, and the fact that you have people in your lives that can say, like, you know what? I don't like you right now. And the fact that you can actually internalize it and say, okay, how can I? And I also think, I go back to sometimes we're not in a space where we can acknowledge it, but we can't change it right then.
Mhm.
Because even going back to showing up to those that we love or for those that we love ourselves, sometimes if you're depleted or you're in a state of depletion,
Mhm.
the answer to that is, I didn't respond to your text, or I am mean. I'm
Yeah.
very mean right now. I'm mean to myself, right? I'm mean to everyone. And because of that, and I love and I care for you enough, I have to say, this is where I am, and it's not going to change right now.
Mhm.
I will try to do better, but I can't make any promises. But give me time to
Yeah.
get past this, right? And that it's honest conversations both ways.
Yeah. And I have loved ones who shoot us to be straight like Niki Giovanni.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, yeah, everyone in the world know you, James Baldwin. Everyone in the world knows Robert Monson. You have these podcasts, you speak a lot.
Yeah.
60,000 people listen to your podcast. It's all wow. You mean as hell. And it
If they only knew the truth.
yeah, exactly. And so what I do like is the people who say that to me are also the most patient with me. Like,
Hmm.
here's the thing, they will not accept disrespect. They will accept immaturity, right? And they say, if you're depleted, I will sit with you in the mud until you're able to get up. Like, I will, as long as it takes. What I won't take, um, you're not going to disrespect it here, though. Like, you're not going to be mean as hell to me
Yeah.
and then think
Yeah.
that there's going to be an indefinite amount of time where you can be mean, and then in
Yeah.
5 years you not
I
ready.
feel better. How do you feel?
They're like, no, they go put it to me straight like that. Like, no, immaturity, love you. We can do. I don't even expect you. If you can't text me back, call me back. I've had people that I've ghosted for years
Yeah.
um, in my immaturity, and they're like, I'm still here. I love you.
Hmm.
Um, you can't disrespect me though. You know? Yeah.
It's that. And I think, again, it goes back to healthy boundaries and understand what you can and can't accept or what you can and you can't do.
Mhm.
I think a lot of times in showing up for those that we love, we know how far we can go across the line with individuals too, and we take that for granted.
Yes.
So we have to be cognizant cognizant of that, and especially in ambition, the examples is when you're everywhere and you're doing multiple things and things like that. Like, I think it's working, is it not? Do I need to reprioritize again, right? Because I'm not showing up in the way that I want to hold my own self accountable
Yeah.
to.
Mhm.
And understanding, what does that look like? Like, when we talk about showing up for those that we love, you had perfect examples. Maybe I have perfect examples, but for those that are listening and watching us today, it's like, what is your baseline? What is the baseline of how you want
Mhm.
to show up for those? And what is the baseline that you're willing to accept? And then how can you continuously make sure that you're going beyond that baseline? Like, we're talking about the bare minimum here, but we always can do more. Like, there's always a little bit more that we can do to show people that we love and we care and we're
Mhm.
kind and generous, and we are creating soft spaces. Uh,
Mhm.
Going back to what we're saying. So, Rob, tell me this in closing: if there was like one or two things for your new besties that are listening or watching you today that you want them to be cognizant of or take away from your journey, what would you say is something that you learned that you would hope helps them so they don't have to learn the same things?
I think the first thing that came to mind is be kind to yourself and learn and go on the journey to learn what kindness to yourself looks like. I write it on a board everywhere in my house. Like, I want to be kind to myself. Like, in the inward parts, I want to be kind. And
Mhm.
that's the first thing. And the second, I would say, is to gather people, mentors, even celebrities that have that ambitious quality that you want to embody, right?
Okay.
Like who do you look up to, essentially? Um, for me, Tabitha Brown is one of my chief ones because she is the ambitious bestie. She is the entrepreneur, but she's kind to herself. She's kind to others. You can tell it radiates. She says no to those things that will harm her family, but
Mm,
she's so ambitious. She has, one thing at Tabitha Brown got cookbooks out here, books,
is everything.
children's show. She appearing on The Shy. But she says no to so much too. And
Yeah.
so I really look up to her. I follow her closely. Like, she is living in her truth. And so, yeah, that's what I would say.
Oh, I think those are amazing. Like, I try to have examples, and I think going back to examples or the mentors and stuff, like those will change as
Yes,
seasons change, as your journey changes, and um, you know, who you are yesterday is not who you're going to be tomorrow. And we
yes,
know that. And so those mentors are going to come in and out your life, or those examples are going to come in and out your life, depending on if your purpose changes. Because as we talk about a lot of times, is your
yeah.
purpose today may not be your purpose tomorrow. Like, we don't have just one specific purpose on this earth.
Mm,
We have multitudes of purpose, especially depending on where your journey is taking you and the lessons that you're learning.
mm,
Um, but on behalf of myself and your new ambitious besties that you have, I appreciate the fact that you've come here and really shared pieces and parts of yourself, very intimate pieces and parts of
mm,
yourself, how you look at, how you show up for those that you love. And I believe that those that are listening and watching today are actually going to be able to move into this journey of life in a much easier and smoother way of
mm.
taking some of those lessons. And as I always say, we are here and we are cheering you on. So, ambitious besties, if you have not followed Rob yet, if you are looking to engage with him, make sure that you do, because I think that you'd be remiss if you don't. I think that a lot of the things that I say he shares between social media and his podcasts and things like that are, things that are going to be life changing. I'll use my last example as, Rob posted on Threads, which I laugh about because I moved to Threads and I was like, I'm going to kill it on Threads. And then you were killing it on, what is it, Twitter.
Yeah.
And you moved to Threads, and I had like my little measly, like 80 followers. And you got there and you had like thousands. Or like putting me to shame in like 2 days.
Which is wild because I'm the shyest person on the planet. But go ahead.
But there's a reason. There's a reason on social media. There's a reason between you getting 60,000 listeners on your podcast. Like, there's a reason, because there's a lot of value of what you bring, but it's, again, going back to that soft, welcoming, safe space that I think we all need. So, you posted something about grief on Threads,
Yeah, yeah.
and I had not, I think, sat with things or grieved certain things. And just that one post, I was like I was like done. I was like, oh, what is he
Yeah.
doing to me? So all that to say, I think it's very important to show up for yourself, because when you show up for yourself, you show up for others and people you've never even met. So, again, I hope that everyone engages with you. This is someone else, ambitious besties, that you can add to your tribe and to your board of directors as you continue to curate the life that you desire. These are lessons that I think will continue with you. So I thank you, my friends, for listening in and watching us today. I thank Rob for sharing with us. And as I always say, onward and upward, and we'll see each other at the top. Thanks,
Amen.
guys.
Thanks.